Are you ready for a kick in the heart? Because that's exactly what you're going to get when you watch Iron Man.
Got my little radio, got my headphones.
See you when. I've been going now about 28 years.
Every single home game. It's in 1980.
It's part of our life.
They may be leaving Upton Park, but not until they've turned it into a fortress.
I watched on Friday, and the first 10 minutes is emotional. Almost come to the point I was like, I'm going to have to pause this. I'm quite cold-hearted. I'm quite an emotionless person, but that got to me. It's hard to describe. It's like a romantic fairy tale, but it's not a fairy tale because fairy tales usually have that happy ending, and this doesn't have a happy ending. We're leaving Upton Park. It's not happy, but it's got the romance in there of a football fan, but obviously a West Ham fan. It's got the theme of family and community from the word go. I think the very first line, I think it's Ray Winston says something about West Ham being a family. And that's the theme from start to finish. It's I don't know, when you get to the end, at the very, very end of the film, I had a tear in my eye, and I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to admit it. When Mabel came on the screen at the end and said what she said, I'm not going to say what she said. I don't want to spoil it, but Mabel says something, and it's not scripted. She's just genuinely chatting away to, I think it's her son. She's chatting away to her son, and you can't help but well up a little bit. You know, she's 100 years old. She's been there. She's only 12 years younger than Upton Park itself. But when you're listening to her talk, you do get a lump in the throat. But there's loads of fans. There's a few fans in there. You've got a fan who's lost his eyesight, so it's quite interesting to hear his perspective from Upton Park. I think sometimes people like that can be forgotten about a little bit, and their move affects everyone. And this fan's seen Upton Park before, but then he's lost his eyesight. He's at the London Stadium. He's not going to see it, so it's quite interesting to get his perspective as well. We've also got the Rib Man, and there's a line he says, and I really like as well. And I spoke to Mark afterwards. I said to Mark, I really like that line, and I've told him he needs to change it on his Twitter. He needs to make it his Twitter line, but hopefully he'll do that. But we've also got Gary from Overland and Sea in there, and for those who know Gary, you don't need to know him, just know of him. Although he was dead against the move, everyone knows he refused to move to the London Stadium for his own personal reasons, and he portrays those reasons very well in this film. And it's quite raw. It's really nitty gritty, if you like. You can tell. I've seen a few people say it's a club PR piece. There's no way that this is a club PR piece because Gary's in it. You've got Gary in it. It can't be. But there's a couple of things Bilic and Noble say themselves as well. You think if this was done by a club, there's a couple of things that those two people, Noble and Bilic, say the club just would not have in the film. They just would not have it. Now, I'm not gonna. There is other reviews out there. I read a review today, and that review tells you what they say, and I think it spoils it a little bit. And also, I can't remember it word for word anyway. But when Noble says it first, it's near the start, and he's not speaking as a West Ham player. He's speaking as a West Ham fan, and it's quite obvious. You can see the emotion in the guy's face when he's saying it as well. You almost wanted to go give him a cuddle when you're watching that film. He looks hurt when he's getting asked about moving to the London Stadium from Upton Park. What it's like to be leaving where he's played all his career. You can see it in his face and you can hear it in his voice. It's what he says. It's just, it hits home just how much West Ham means to him, if you like, as well. It's really good to be able to hear him speak, because it's not something you see. You see Mark Noble interviews left, right, and centre these days, but that's the first time I've heard him speaking as a proper West Ham fan without the sort of player side of him put into his speech and what he was saying. And the same with Bilic. I mean, he gives two different opinions on it, everyone loves Bilic. You're going to love him even more after this film because he gets it. He gets what Noble gets. He gets what the fans are thinking, and that's what comes across in this film. But I was wondering how this film would work. I was thinking, well, how is it going to work? Is it a documentary? Is it a story? It is a documentary, but it's got the story to it. But like I said, it's got the theme of family. It's got the theme of community running from start to the finish, right at the very end, the very last scene. It's quite fitting, I think. I think it is quite fitting, actually, the last scene as well. And we've got the premiere, actually, for the film's out on Thursday night, and Charlie is going for Hamish Chat, and we've got a space at the premiere, so Charlie's going along to that, and he's going to be vlogging it, and he's going to be speaking to a couple of people there. So if you're actually going to the premiere and you'd like to speak to Charlie, let us know, and Charlie will meet up with you and get you on the camera. You can give him your thoughts on what you thought about the film as well. I mean, I can't go into too much because I don't want to spoil it, except that this is a must. I think this is a must-see for West Ham fans, and also football fans. I think if you were a non-West Ham fan, you'd be able to relate to this a lot more than you think. I'd be very surprised if West Ham fans don't watch that and come away not feeling a little bit. It's like they're turning back time and twisting the knife once more. Just once more, they're just going to twist that knife in you a little bit. You know, I've spent this season getting over the move from Upton Park, and after I watched that, it was almost like a reminder of it. And you know, once you watched it and you finished watching it, you thought, I really wish we didn't leave. It does have that effect on you. You know, it doesn't feel like time goes like that when you're watching a film as well. I remember when it finished, I didn't think, how long was that? I had to check how long it was, and it did not feel like I watched it at all because I was that into it from the word go. But like I said, she's the star of the show for me. She just gives it that sort of emotion, vulnerability, if that's even a thing. I think that she throws that into the mix a little bit, but it's fantastic. As a West Ham fan, I cannot recommend this film more. But we're giving away 3 DVDs. We're giving away one on the forum. There's a link below, hammerchat.com. There's a thread, Iron Man winning DVD. Just go in there. There's a question. Answer the question you entered into it. We're giving away a copy on social media. So you can enter through Twitter and Facebook, and they're going to be in the same draw. It's facebook.com/hammerchat and twitter.com/hammers_chat. The links are below. And lastly, is for you, YouTube. That's why I'm doing this video. The reason I'm doing this video is because we're giving away a copy on our YouTube channel to one of our subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And all you have to do is comment below with, if you were to be interviewed for this film, and you had to sort of give a sentence or 2 sentences and sum up the move or leaving Upton Park, what would you say? What would you say to the cameraman? Because there's a couple of snippets from fans that don't have a big role. I mean, like I said, the Gary's in there, Rimman's in there. There's the fan that's lost his eyesight. You've got Mabel in there. Then you've also got the owners. Karen Brady makes a brief appearance. You've got Noble and Bilic. But there's a handful of other fans that pop up here and there in various parts where they've captured while they've been filming over the few weeks. It starts with the FA Cup game against Man U, and also finishes with the other Man U game, where they interview like a stall holder, for example, and you've got a clip from Nathan's Pie Mash in there. So you've got loads of fans there. So if you were one of the fans in the film, what would you say? The camera's rolling. It says, tell me about the move. What would you say? Because I'm genuinely interested to see what your replies are on this one, because when we did a thing, myself and Gonzo did a thing for Copa 90, on their YouTube channel, and they were asking us, and it was quite emotional talking about it. But anyway, when you watch the film, come back onto this video and let us know what your thoughts on the video were. For me, I don't want to give too much away, and when I have a cup of tea with Gonzo, once it's out, a couple of weeks after it's out, we'll talk about it in more detail, because we can talk about who says what, etc. Because I don't want to spoil it for you too much. It's spoiler free, this video. It's spoiler free, but like I said, it's absolutely brilliant. Get your copy. I'm not going to put, well, actually I will put a link. I was going to say I'm not going to put a link because it's just an advertising video, but I'll put a link so you can find it. I think it's 10. I don't know how much it is. I think it's 10 quid. But you can get it from the West Ham store anyway, and it's out on Monday the 6th. But it's a must see. It's a romantic heartbreaker for West Ham fans. But anyway, get involved. The links are below. We're giving away 3 copies. Hopefully you'll win one. But we'll, like I said, I'll speak with Gonzo in more detail once he's seen it, and we'll spoil it if you haven't already seen it. But until then, catch you in a bit.
It ain't the stadium, it's the people. The people are West Ham.